Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sports Dungeon. As you guys can see, this guy needs no introduction, but I will be kind of thus for those of you who are out there watching that may not know who he is. This is Coach Tommy Tice. He is the Tournament Director of the Lendel Thomas Classic, which is presented to you by Magnus Toyota. Coach, welcome to the show. This is we've been doing this since the existence of the Sports Dungeon. You come on here, we kind of preview the tournament. It's always a great time. It's a great. Let me talk about some highlights, and I know that what I'm going to say here is not for everybody, but you have the top-notch hospitality room, bar none,
in the country.
Around, very, very good. It is top-notch. I know them ladies back there do a great job of keeping everybody fed. You know. You gotta. I mean, you just mentioned you want something, and they're back there taking care of it.
Well,
now, those are guys that you and I were. That's things
directed by the incomparable Wimp Johnson.
Yeah, Wimp.
Absolutely, he knows a great hospitality room when he sees one.
Yeah, you know, I'm sure Zeddy takes care of that for him.
Well, actually, she's the one that does.
Yeah, but we'll let Wimp be in charge, right?
Oh, we have to make him think he is anyway.
Well, so that's those of us who get in there. It is very top notch. But let's talk about the tournament. It's next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Kind of a different shakeup. Normally you'd start on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but is that just a change based on the holidays?
Just a change based on the holidays and the the availability of the teams and things like that. And just worked out that way this time. We're not playing on New Year's Eve for a change.
Which was a couple years ago. That New Year's Eve was the finals of Bergman-Harrison.
Yeah, what a great night. I mean, gosh, that thing went right down the last wire. I mean, it was something else. And, of course, the tournament this year is no different than it has been. It's a 23rd annual tournament, for us. It seems like just yesterday we met out in the caboose at McDonald's with a bunch of the local leaders, and all those guys are still on the committee, and they don't want to be introduced. They want to remain anonymous.
They do, because I went to the meeting with you. And they don't. You see these guys come walking in, eating their McDonald's, and you're like, Oh, they come out of the woodworks for this, don't they?
And I tell you what, we just kind of a whoever gets there, we're all for. We'll give you a job. And if you don't show up, we call you.
Yeah.
And you can't get off the committee unless you either die or you move away, and a long ways away. And we haven't lost any committee members, except for Jerry McFarland, of course, that had a great hand in starting this thing. And back in '88, we played that first game. And it's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's 3 days of nonstop basketball. We just have the finest teams, across the state, and we try to keep it really balanced. And this year's brackets are no different. I mean, you look at first round games. We're starting off at 11 o'clock with Russellville and Bergman girls, and that's going to be a dandy.
And Bergman girls coming off the big win of the North Arkansas College Invitational that they're champions on that. Coach Bobby Howard's got them playing real well. They ought to be really, really excited about that. And so there's a lot of good teams in that morning.
You look at the teams and the coaches. Russellville was Steve Weedor, who was Joe Foley's assistant for a long time, at UALR and Arkansas Tech. And then Bobby Howard. I mean, Bobby Howard needs no introduction either. I mean, he's one of the finest girls basketball coaches in the country. And you get down through their other and then you got the senator, Coach Charles Berry from Huntsville, and Coach Berry's about 76 years old now, but he hadn't changed a bit when I played for him. Now, I didn't play on the girls' team. He was the boys' coach at that time, back in '68 when he came to Huntsville. But he's, they're always good, and of course we got Prairie Grove coming in, a new team, 4A state champions
from a year ago.
Yep, Kevin Froud is the coach. It has another good team, and then of course we've got Sherry White. Who won 4 state championships while she was here. And that's pretty well says it all. And she's got one of the better teams that she's had.
Right.
Great post girl. So, looks like it's going to be an exciting tournament. And over on the boys' side, a couple new team in Brinkley. Brinkley Tigers are coming.
Which is kind of the unknown. We were talking about this earlier. We've tried to get some information about them. Typically, they're in years past, they're very athletic. They get up and down the floor real well. They'll be an exciting team. Now
should be an entertaining team.
And they drew Batesville in the first round, who is coming off of state runners up in football. Right. So they're just going to be getting their legs back underneath them. And you mentioned the Showalter.
Showalter kid is a great athlete, just getting out there from football, and he'll help a great deal. And Jeff Morrow, of course, one of our old Goblin coaches, is the head coach. You got Goblin coaches sprinkled through here. Bobby Howard and Jeff Morrow, and of course, Heber Springs, another one we don't know a whole lot about, but they always have a good team, boys and girls. And then that night, of course, Harrison's going to play. Well, Valley Springs is going to play Paragould's boys. So Valley's back in the tournament, and we're tickled to have them. Should add a lot to our tournament. And then, of course, Harrison's girls are going to play Prairie Grove's girls. So Doug's going to jump right into the fire.
He's getting he's going to get tested right out of the gate.
They're improving, and they played hard the other night at Mountain Home. I think we ended up getting beat about 12, 14 points.
Yeah, 50-35. They lost by 15.
50-35, real close at halftime. Maybe we took too long a halftime break. I don't know. But then the nightcap, big game.
This is a huge game, and since the brackets come out, and we had privilege to this a while ago, they've been talking about the Bergman Panthers taking on the Harrison Goblins, the nightcap on the first night. What a way to end it! What a way to cap the night. There are a lot of very, very good matchups out today, but the last game of the night, a rematch of 3 years ago of the finals. And both teams have been talking about it. Both teams are looking forward to that. Harrison will have had 10 days off for finals this week.
That's right.
They're coming off a big win over at Mountain Home, getting ready, prepared, and talking with Coach Stahl a little bit about it. He said this is not something that his guys are looking past. They know this is going to be. You got to give your best if you want to win this ball game.
Well, it's going to be a great ball game. Of course, you talked about that game 3 years ago, and anybody was there. It was just an unbelievable atmosphere, and went right down to the last 30 seconds of the ball game. Just an unbelievable ball game. Bergman, Coach Yoakum's got a very fine team this year. Coach Stoller has a very good team. We've won a couple ball games against a very good Branson team, and of course beating Mountain Home over there is a big victory for us. But we also we went to Bentonville and didn't take the right Snickers with us or something, because we didn't play well up there. And we worry about the 10-day layoff, about what that'll do. But one thing, the Goblins seem to play well in the Lendel Thomas Classic, because it's named after the ultimate Goblin.
That's right.
Lendel Thomas, great player here in the 60s. We got our Hall of Fame banquet in January, and that team that he played on is going to be honored. At that time, you got 66, 67, 67, 68. Both teams were 35-1.
Wow.
Lendel's team lost in the finals to Mountain Home, a team they'd beaten 3 times.
It's tough to beat somebody 4 times.
The next year, Dean Wilburn replaced Bob Denniston, who moved on from Harrison at that time, and Dean came in, and they go 35-1 and got beat by Jonesboro right at Christmas. And then went on and won the state championship when Donnie Watts, one of the few high school All-Americans that we've ever had here at Harrison, led them to 35-1, and so we're going to honor both those teams at the Hall of Fame. But Lendel Thomas was a great basketball player, great football player. Went on to University of Arkansas, was on a football scholarship, had numerous scholarships in many sports. Could throw the shot, was best in the state at doing that.
Wow!
And then, of course, came back here and coached, and of course that 3-year run that he had, where he went to the finals of the state tournament 3 years in a row. Of course, he won it in 1984 with Doug Dennis and Mike Lowe and those guys, and then 3 years in a row with Tommy Edwards and Brian Sugg and guys like that. Had a 3-year run, went to finals every year. At that time they got the kid and everybody telling it that was the Lendel Thomas tournament. But it is named after him, and we honor him by putting his name on this tournament, and just really tickled that Bill and Matt Magnus will help us present this tournament through Magnus Toyota, and it is an unbelievable tournament. Loren, what tournament can you think of where the teams, all they got to do is get here?
That's all they got to do. Get it. And you send them home. I mean, those were there on the bus. You fill their bus tanks up to go home. I mean, the hotels are there for them. You're feeding them. Let me tell you what, this is truly a community effort. This cannot be done by Coach Tice or the committee. This is done by the entire Harrison community. This is whether the McDonald's sponsors, the food sponsors, the hotel sponsors, you name it. It takes every person who comes in contact or calls Harrison home is involved with this, because you make it exciting for them.
That's true, and you're right. It's a typical Harrison community thing. When you show them, a good thing where it will help a lot of people, and certainly this does. It brings people to town at a time of year where it's kind of dead in town. We get people in the restaurants, we get people in the motels. We bring 3 days of great basketball where people can get out of the house. Maybe they have a little cabin fever or whatever right after Christmas, that lull, and it truly is a great event, and everybody joins in. I mean, all the restaurants, the motels, White Oak Station, Petromark, those people, just goes on. And then, like I say, the committee, and like they say, if they don't show up at the meeting, I call them and say, hey, you can't get out of this duty.
That's right. Just because you thought you just not show up, you wouldn't have something to do. Well, Coach, we're going to take a short break. We come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the tournament or the sponsors and some other things that are unique about this tournament. We'll be right back.